This has been just a great weekend. We started out Friday night, Tom and I, with a hike into the Mount Diablo foothills, a sunset hike and picnic. Then I braided all of the garlic that I had picked and dried from last weekend. The garlic is dry, so it's time to braid it into strands of 6 to 8 or so. I've only been doing this a few years and I'm not terribly good at it, but the more you do it, the more you get better at it. So I just keep trying. So let's see if I can show you how to do this. Let me tip the camera down. Some of these are not terribly well formed, but I just usually take as much dirt as I can off, brush it off, take some of the roots off if I can. Start with a big one. This one's kind of small. So I start out with 3 like this in sort of a bouquet, and I take a piece of twine. You can use anything. This is jute, and I tie those first 3 together so that I get a good base. To make it pretty tight. Okay, so I've got a good base there. I'm gonna add another one and 2 more, at least 6 to start out with. And some of these didn't get much of an outside covering. That makes them sort of hard to... I'll use these first. The ones that look like this, I'll use them first because they don't have much covering them. Okay, and then I just sort of start to braid it. Let's see if I can get a good view here. Like that. And then I take another piece of twine and I go around to the front and tie it. I go around to the back and tie it. And then, let's flip it over. So here's the back side. Then I make a sort of a loop so it can hang on a hook. Like that. So, you can see there's sort of a loop here to hang it with, and then it hangs up like this. Well, there's 6 braids of 6 bulbs each, plus these 2 extra bulbs and this one. So that is 39 bulbs. I guess I'd rather have more. So then I made a homemade pesto with basil from the garden, garlic from the garden, and a roasted bulb of garlic from the garden to have with some bread. We can't forget pancakes. Pancakes for breakfast with blueberries from our garden. And another thing that's really great this weekend is that the tomatoes are doing excellently. Check it out. So I'm doing a little experiment this year with tomatoes. In the north garden, which as you can see is a little shady right now, it's early in the morning, in the midday heat of the sun, this is full sun. And so I put the bulk of my tomatoes over here. I have 49 tomato plants and 18 are in the south garden, which gets shade in the middle of the day, and the rest of them are here in the north garden, which gets heat in the middle of the day. And so I wanted to see if it mattered for the tomatoes, because everybody talks about needing so much sun for tomatoes. I wanted to do it. I had enough tomatoes this year and enough room that I could do an experiment. So over here in the north garden, which is very heat intensive in the middle of the day, there's a lot of tomatoes all on paste. There's a lot of paste tomatoes. There's a lot of slicing tomatoes starting. Some are actually getting quite large. A lot of slicers. Plenty of tomato action over here on the hot side, I'll say. This is the hotter side. Plenty of cherry tomatoes, both with the black cherry plant and the Mexican midget, and let's see, this is yellow pear. There's some there too. Okay, so that's the north garden. And then over here, oh, you should see how Tom's hops are doing. They're growing up. Pretty exciting. So, excuse me, I've had a horrible cold. Over here in the south garden, which is shaded by this enormous catalpa tree, which is so busy right now, I wish you could hear it. It is full of bees. These get morning sun and a little bit of afternoon sun, but in the heat of the day, in the midday, it's in shade. And I wanted to see if these would suffer for that. So just looking at them here, you can see they're not suffering at all, at least not where greenery is concerned. And then I maybe don't notice quite as many tomatoes over here, but I'm still noticing plenty. Let's see, those are paste. Let's look over here in the slicer. So these are going to be big boys. There's tomatoes coming out over here too. They're a little smaller, but there's still plenty of tomato action. And let's go over here and look at the cherries. The cherries are even taller over here, I think. Let's see, that's Mexico midget. And Let's see, I'm not sure which one this is. That looks like a pear. I think that's Austin's red pear. Here's a sun gold. Oh yeah, I forgot I have sun gold on the other side too. Sun gold tomatoes. So it seems to me, so far at least, that these are pretty neck and neck. I would say the other side has more tomatoes, but honestly, I'm not seeing a huge difference. So then on Sunday, I got to go to a place I've been wanting to go for years. It's called the Petaluma Seed Bank, and it's Baker Creek's Western Outpost. I got to go there and buy some seeds directly from the source. So I didn't film anything at the seed bank, but it was a really cool place. And I ended up with an entire bag full of seeds. So I thought I'd share with you some of the things that I'm planning to do coming up. So I bought a lot more herbs. Now, I've been planting basil in every place in my garden, and I've noticed something about basil. I have it in raised beds, and it's not doing so well. I have it in a raised bed by itself in the herb garden. I have it in a raised bed with the hot peppers. It's not doing so well. There's a couple plants, but I put a whole packet there. And I have it in a raised bed over here by the tomatoes, and there's a few plants coming up, but not a whole lot. However, the basil that I put in a big 10-gallon black plastic pot with potting soil, not even the best soil, just kind of some potting soil I had laying around, that did great. It went gangbusters. And in fact, we harvested it and ate it last night in pesto. So I'm thinking those black pots might be the best option for herbs. So I also stopped on my way home and got some potting soil, and I'm going to be planting more basil because we can never have too much basil. I like to freeze pesto for the winter. And more cilantro. This is a slow bolt cilantro. I'll believe it when I see it. And I also got elephant dill for our canning. So I'm going to put all of those in those big black plastic pots. I think something about the heat, this is my guess. Something about the heat absorption of those black pots helps everything grow faster. I don't know if that's true. Then while I was there at Baker Creek, I decided to buy, they had all this great wheat seed. And I'm really thinking about over the winter planting all the beds to wheat and crimson clover as sort of a cover crop. So the crimson clover will be the nitrogen fixing part of the cover crop, and this will be the cereal part of the cover crop, which will provide us with grain and will also provide us with straw for next summer's tomato crop. What do you think? You think that'll work? I got 2 packets of red Fife, I got 2 packets of Emmer, and I got 2 packets of Sonora wheat, which is a very Californian southwestern wheat. So I'm thinking about doing that and then doing all of our greens in those same black plastic pots. And that way the beds will kind of get some nutrition back in them and also have a cover crop over the winter. Do you have something to say?
No.
Oh, Tom came over. I thought he wanted to talk to you, but he doesn't. Then I got, this greens issue in the summer. We really miss having our own greens. Not just for our own consumption. I tend to eat some sort of green every day, and the chickens do too. And I'm really missing greens. So the problem is it's so hot here, things bolt so quickly. It's just too warm for cool season lettuces to germinate. The romaine's doing okay, but it's going to take a while before it's big enough to eat. And then I remembered Malabar spinach. This is a heat-loving Asian vine. And it has red stems and these sort of, it's not really spinach at all, but it has these red, what family is it in? Tell me. The problem with Baker Creek is they don't tell me the Latin name, which is a bothersome thing, but it's in the brassica family. I'm gonna give it a shot. A neighbor of ours gave us a cattle panel, a livestock panel, which is this huge mesh panel, and I think I'm gonna grow this on that trellis. I'll let you see it when I do it. We'll see if it works. And I also got this New Zealand spinach, which is also not spinach. Oh no, this is a real spinach, but it's a heat tolerant variety of spinach. So anyway, we'll give those a try. Then of course I got 3,000 cosmos and zinnias because I can't seem to resist cosmos and zinnias and tithonia. Oh yeah, I also got, where is it? Another kind of cucumber because we can never have too many pickles. And I heard about this spinach, not spinach, rhubarb, on an online forum. It's called Glaskin's Perpetual. And it's an English heirloom that produces stems that are greenish red, not completely red, but greenish red, and you can eat it the first year. Now, I've never planted rhubarb from seed, but I thought I'd try them out in a, just a little cell pack and see if I can get them started. And then I'm going to plant them under the fruit trees, under the apple and the peach tree. And the reason I'm going to do that is I saw a thing about an orchard permaculture, a permaculture orchard guy, and he plants rhubarb under his fruit trees. I wasn't sure that rhubarb could take that much shade, but I'm going to give it a shot because that would be a great ground cover under fruit trees and still provide food. So, and it's perennial. So that's all the stuff I got at Baker Creek Seed Bank. Then they gave me a flyer. I didn't get to this last year, but I'm going. I'm going this year. It's the National Heirloom Expo, September 5th through 7th in Santa Rosa. I'm going. I'm going. Hear me now. And then one other thing I wanted to show you. I went with my friend Barbara. She is a plantaholic like me, and she brought me some sunflower seed heads that had gone to seed. So I'm gonna get those planted too. So I'm not gonna get that planted today, but I'll get it all planted tomorrow, I think, and put the wheat and the clover in the refrigerator for winter, and get all these herbs planted. Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a fun day tomorrow to get all that done. And then Tom canned strawberry jam and apricot jam from fruit he got at the farmer's market. Isn't this beautiful? Apricot jam, strawberry jam. Yum. Awesome weekend. Hope yours was too. See you next weekend.